All right, jumping in, like Olympic lifting.
Oh, yeah.
And where that fits in, like how applicable is that? Should everybody be doing it? Why? Like, I know this is going to be a little bit of debate. I'm kind of looking forward to this between you two guys, and this is going to be like a tennis match.
Yeah, it's going to vote.
Going back.
Aaron, why don't you lead us off? You'll be the 1A, the affirmative of the debate team.
I love Olympic lifts. I do them every single week as much as I possibly can. If I could, I'd do them only, but there's other things I need to work on as well.
Before we jump in, though, define Olympic lifts.
You want the examples or exactly like what it is?
Well, truly, there's really only true Olympic lifts.
Yeah, there's the clean and jerk and then the snatch.
Okay, so clean and jerk, bar starts.
Bar starts on the ground, goes to your shoulders. Most likely you're going to catch it at the bottom of a squat.
Yep.
Squat it up and then put it over your head somehow.
Okay, jerk it.
So it's the bar to overhead in one of two ways.
Yes, essentially, it's either one fluid motion from the ground to overhead in a snatch, or it's going to be pause at the shoulders. I just want to make sure everyone's on the same page before we start.
So the Olympic lifts we program are variants of that. They're amplifiers. They're essentially accessory lifts to get you better at those two lifts. We don't typically program snatches.
Why?
Just because mobility is an issue. Shoulder issues that can occur from those lifts if they don't have good technique. And there's not really a way. Now, I would program it if I were in person with somebody. I think it's a great lift to increase power.
He's playing nice right now. He knows he's playing nice.
Yeah. You generate a lot of force.
Yep.
And it's really good for your shoulders. I mean, there's always been a debate on like overhead athletes. Do you want to put them overhead with a lift?
How much do you do?
Yeah. And good coaches have in the past shied away from it. Now there is a culture change that's been happening over the past, I'd say, decade of it's probably 50-50 now of like, my quarterback snatch or my baseball player snatch off season. Mm-hmm. And it's good to build those stabilizer muscles in the shoulder.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of value in a snatch.
Yeah, you have to learn how to decelerate your arm, which counteracts the acceleration that they have to do when they throw. So
it's very practical application.
It's extremely practical, but the thing with law enforcement and how we program, we have no way of telling if that was a good snatch or not. And so we're just going to eliminate the issue of, hey, you're doing that wrong and we got to fix it because we don't have the time, nor do we have the ability to do it. So
yeah, we can't be watching. I'm not going to be like, get on the program. We're going to have a snatch day. I'm going to watch 200 videos of people snatching and then give you feedback in coach's eye, which is not an app anymore, I guess, which is irritating. But but
there's a risk reward thing that has to.
It's a juice worth the squeeze perspective. But there are definitely other ways
for sure.
Power development in the Olympic lift. So what lifts do we feel comfortable programming from that perspective?
The clean variants are most of the time safe and easy to do for most people.
Like, so what are we talking about?
Clean pulls, panda pulls, clean high pulls, hang high pulls.
Shrimp gumbo, shrimp creole, shrimp sandwiches. Like, okay, keep going, bro.
Power clean, hang high clean. We can list it for days. Yeah, there's a ton of them.
So any clean variants. What about overhead though?
Overhead, most of the jerks and push presses. I know you're not the biggest fan of push press. I like to program it just because it's kind of like is the juice worth the squeeze of, do they have that thoracic mobility to put the bar overhead for a jerk?
I have something to say about that too.
You don't like push press?
No, I don't. It's not that I don't like it, just in terms of how we program it.
Hit me.
Yeah. Well,
let's hear it.
One of my challenges with the overhead movement, just in general, when I'm not there to coach somebody in person, or I don't have,
online or whatever,
video or whatever, is that there's a large percentage of people that do not have good overhead shoulder mobility anyway. Mm-hmm. And I think, and as you get into this profession and these guys in this career, they've been wearing kit for a very long time. There's a lot of equipment.
Yeah, overhead's not going to happen.
Overhead is just not going to happen well. They can maybe get there, and their body will figure out a way to get that bar there or whatever it is that you're taking over your head. But when you're fixed to a bar, I think it can become problematic when you're going overhead like that. Now, it's not that it can't be trained, but how much of that are we going to give somebody when we could be getting something that's maybe closer to overhead, or a variant that has maybe a little bit lower risk for somebody that has a little less mobility or less strength, or mechanically they're challenged or limited in some way? What other thing can we give them to get the benefits and the training effect that we're trying to get without maybe putting them at risk? That's all I'm saying. So
I actually really like, we have not gotten this involved in the program yet, but at some point we're going to have this conversation. And that is tempo work.
Yeah, for sure.
So tempo overhead work, I have always found the most benefit, bang for my buck, where I'm not having to go super heavy. And we could either talk concentric or eccentric for push press, right? Mm-hmm. Either are we lowering more strict press for one of them. But like, are we lowering it down to our body, which more likely is what happens, or are we pushing it up slow, which is more of a strict press? You obviously can't do that for the other two movements. But I've always found a huge benefit from that because it forces you to be in a good position, and it's usually light enough where it's like probably not going to hurt yourself.
Agreed.
But I don't think we have those. I'm sure at some point we will. We have not had that conversation yet.
Yeah, I think so. That's a really good point. And so, like, it's not that you never go overhead, that you wouldn't. The idea is we try to do as well as we can with what we have. So there are alternatives to do that, like whether that's like a kettlebell versus, fixed to a barbell.
Dumbbell snatch.
Something like that, like from the tempo perspective. And then when you get into like the more strict press perspective, like if that barbell or heavy set of dumbbells to match the guy's strength, right? Who's actually doing the movement. If that's not working for them, or we can find a better one, like a Viking press as an example, because then I can change the angle and get it right where kind of my limit is, but still really overload or really load that movement pattern. So I like where you're going with that, because it's not that we never do this, and it's not that we can't do this. There are ways to do it, and we should probably talk about how that should be fit in.
I've been a big fan lately of the landmine work.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So the Viking press.
Yeah, landmine split jerk. You could do the Viking attachment with it. Sorry, CrossFitter.
Go ahead.
A step down for me, regression would be dumbbell. And then if they can't do that, then landmine, because you're still getting a little bit more weight. And then my favorite bottom line is the overhead med ball throw. You're getting it over your head, but it's a little bit more total body involved with it, but you're still getting overhead and you're throwing a little bit. It's just not as significant as the push press or push jerk.
Yeah, so I think just looking at this, like when people get into our program, it's important that they understand that we've thought through this, and that we've debated it. We've debated it, and we're doing it right now.
We still debate it.
We're doing it right now, and we're trying to find ways, and we'll provide. There are alternatives if you've got like a limitation, or if you're just plain not good at this. Like we'll program stuff to help you get better at it. There's more than one way to skin a cat.
I'm actually really happy that I'm a part of. I wouldn't be a part of this group if it was otherwise, but I'm really happy that we are programming them, because when I played college football, we always lost to this team. I had a strength and conditioning coach in my college. I did not go to a D1 school, so judge away. Okay, bro. But like when I was playing left out. And so we played this team here in Kansas City. It was Mid-America Nazarene. Mid-Am was their name for it. They're in our league for football. And I came down here and had an internship in Kansas City when I still had another year left of football. And I had went to got invited to go to get my USAW, United States of American Weightlifting Level 1. My USAW, it's a Level 1 certificate for lifting. And so I went and got my USAW Level 1 at Mid-Am's University, and come to find out their strength and conditioning coach, who has since passed away, his name's Coach Cross, but then
Tom Cross, yep. He's a legend.
Dude, legend. Didn't know who he was. Okay, I'm
really
impressed.
Good friends with his grandson.
Really?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
Small world. Yeah. Anyways, the gal his second assistant, who is now leads that whole team now, or that whole strength conditioning program, her name is Whitney Rodden.
Okay.
Wonderful human being. Went and spent time with her, realized no wonder this freaking football team destroys us every freaking time.
We're strong as piss.
Well, it's because it's like, they're not just doing, I'm going to do deadlifts. Bench squat dead.
Deadlifts.
Hang clean with straps. Like stupid. But they're snatching under, again, different things for different people, right? They're snatching under good eyeballs from Coach Tom Cross. Amazing. Whitney Rodden, they're cleaning, they're jerking. No wonder why they're fast and explosive. And then I remember going back to my college after my internship, pulling my strength conditioning coach aside and saying, hey man, actually I was my head coach. I went to my head coach and said, hey, football coach, I said, we need to fix this program. I was like, no wonder why they freaking beat us every time. It's because they're actually doing lifts that matter. Didn't change. The coach we had didn't feel comfortable. The head coach of the strength conditioning didn't feel comfortable teaching that, which is, I get it. Yeah. But I'm super excited to be part of a team that feels comfortable being like, we're not going to snatch, okay? But feels comfortable putting programming and fixing people's programming in things that will make them more explosive.
Yeah, and so I couldn't agree with you more. For the person out there that's questioning like how much Olympic lifting is in these programs, what we're talking about is there are variations of things.
There's variations 2 to 3 times a week, and they're all all these lifts are intended to amplify the movement.
Yeah. So, and you're going to find them in all of our programs at some level. But if you might see a little bit more of it in the power and speed program, right? And you'll see it in the performance program quite a bit.
For sure.
So
the performance
if you're feeling like you're lacking in that, maybe you need some base level strength, you go through the strength program first. You'll see some of that stuff. You can build in the power and speed program to maybe improve that, to go a little longer with before you jumped in the performance program if you think that might help you. But yeah, I think providing people alternatives and letting them know, like, it's not that we don't like it, it's not that we don't trust you, or think that you can do it. However, I do think there's probably a smaller percentage of people that can actually snatch really well. Yep. We're just looking out. Yeah. Right. We're looking out and trying to provide the best product we can for the masses and for what we've seen to be effective based on, who they are and the job they have to perform.
Yeah. It's an open line of communication with me. So if you have any questions,
his phone number is.
I'm going to give that out.
Don't do that.
1, 2, 3.
Don't do that.
In the app, you'll have a direct line of communication with me. You'll have my email from the website. They can always reach out, send me videos so I can provide feedback or options to regress.
Excellent.